Thank you for tuning in to the Realty with T3. I'm Tesia Harris, and I am the team leader of Texas Trio Team. We are so excited that you joined in on this episode today because we're going to be covering so many topics about real estate, business development, and so much more. Be sure to check us out online and follow us and like and subscribe our YouTube channel. And so I've got these great guests with me. So I've got Cross Country Mortgage with me today. So who are you guys? What keeps you busy?
So I'm Chris Planto, and helping home buyers get into the right home and the right loan. That keeps me busy these days.
Yeah.
I'm Joseph Medrano. I'm a loan officer, assistant business development specialist. Been working for Chris for the past 2 years, and it's been awesome.
Yeah. So how long have you been in the industry of lending, Chris?
So I've been in the mortgage business for 22 years. I've closed about $1 billion in loan volume. Became a branch manager across country close to 3 years ago. And then I've hired a bunch of wonderful folks like Joseph. So we've got a small army of wonderful loan officers that are out there bringing in business, and we've got a terrific ops team behind us that are making sure things flow and close on time, and our clients and our realtor partners are happy.
Yeah, and it's really important as business owners. And so you're newer into the industry, but one thing that I like about you guys so much is you're always there. You're always at networking events, and do you lean in on your affiliates and like your realtor referral partners a lot of the time for your business?
Yeah, absolutely. That's where a majority of my business comes from. I just like to build relationships and talk to people. And so those, networking events, it brings me to life. Like, it's just so much fun. I love talking to people. I love meeting people. And so that's where I have built up my book of business, and that's where I get a lot of my referrals from. But for Chris, I think it's a little bit different.
Yeah, so it's like I got into business back in 2002, and interest rates were super low, similar to what we're seeing right now with the rates having come down drastically over the past 2 weeks. And so when I came into the business, there was a refi boom going on. And so I was doing a lot of refinance business, and we advertised in the Mortgage Index in the Houston Chronicle. And so we get calls, and I didn't really have to work that hard to get business. I just had to be near the phone and answer it and know what questions to ask.
Was it a lot of like cold calling and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was a lot of cold calling. And then, it's like rates went up about a year and a half later, and then I had to go out and make some friends, build a network, meet some real estate agents, folks in a position to refer me business. And fast forward all these years, I track where all my business comes from, and roughly 60% of my annual business comes from my past clients and my customer base referring me, their friends, their family, coworkers, and so on. And then I get business, obviously, from real estate agents, CPAs, financial advisors, and divorce attorneys as well.
Yeah. And so it's really interesting for like teams in general that you can have multi-members, but you're all doing different pillars of business. And so I think it's really intriguing that you're not just like, this is the pillar that we use, and you're going to stick with it no matter who you are. And one of the things that I noticed as well is you guys are really honing in on social media. Mm-hmm. And is that something new for you? It
is. So it's been on my goal list for the last 2 years. And I said, hey, this year we are going to do it. We're going to get out there and we're going to make this happen. So I hired a social media manager, and we get together, every couple of months and shoot some videos, and then just kind of stagger those posts going forward. But it's been just a tremendous amount of fun to get the team together to bond that day and get out to different areas, to shoot those videos. And we're having a blast with it, and there's more to come.
Are you noticing a large return on social media?
I mean, my videos, I don't know about Chris's, I don't keep track of that, but they get a lot of views, and I have a lot of people like that know me, and they're like, yeah, I've been seeing your videos, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because it's fun making them, but it's also kind of like a lot out of my comfort zone, and it's totally unlike me, but it's still a lot of fun, and I enjoy doing it. I like seeing the end product of it all, because it is pretty cool.
Right. Yeah. And you guys, like, it seems so natural, like the things
thanks.
that you're doing. So yeah, I bet it's nerve-wracking because it's new, but you're doing really well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. It kind of started out with just wanting to get some more exposure to get our faces and our names out there and build more of a brand.
Like a personality.
Exactly.
It's like all the hard work that you're putting into it. Now you're putting it out for everybody in your network to see all the things that you're doing every day as well. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like if you and I didn't know each other personally, but we had friended on Facebook and you saw my videos over and over and over again, and I called you up, hey, Tesia, let's have a cup of coffee or whatever, you'd feel like, I kind of know this guy. I've seen like half a dozen videos and he doesn't look like he's too bad of a guy. Maybe I'll give him the time of day.
Know, like, and trust is really important in our industries that we're doing.
Absolutely. I agree.
Exactly. So, I've been seeing 500 to 1,000 views on average, for the videos. And I had a client call me on Tuesday. I had a now client call me on Tuesday. Never met her before, but one of her real estate agents shared the video. And then she called me. And now we're doing a loan for her.
That's awesome. It means a lot to get like an immediate return on something that you were on the fence about. You knew you wanted to do it, but then you actually did it. You're like, well, that paid off.
Yeah,
it really did. It's going to pay for several months of videos essentially.
Right.
So we're already seeing a return, which is really super cool. So we're just going to keep pumping it out there and getting it out there and just. Really, the goal is to really just bring massive value. That's always been our value proposition, is to provide massive value to our clients and to our real estate partners. And these videos are a way of us educating the community and maybe providing some things that other folks are not necessarily saying, but actually providing some value that, somebody can go and implement right away or take advantage of right away to make a life-changing difference in their finances.
Right. And then they're seeing some of the tips that you're giving about financing for an upcoming purchase. And so they're like, oh, I was just thinking about that, because you're hitting the key topics.
Yeah.
That's right.
And it's so different than 2002 when you started.
Different. So different. Folks used to come into my office. We'd meet face to face. There was 12 disclosures instead of like 52 disclosures. Everything was, pretty much by hand. We were just in the infancy of the internet. And now, I used to stand by a fax machine to secure a rate lock, and it was busy and the market's crashing and trying to get a rate locked, and the fax machine's busy and I can't get the rate locked, and I'm frustrated and stressing out. And nowadays, I just click a button, It's
a lot easier.
Yeah.
We're really in a great time as far as technology and the things that are available to us. But I think it's really important to lean back into those times because it made you who you are.
That's right.
And so you can, in 20 more years from now, be like, yeah, I did that. But then we did videos and that'll be old school.
Yeah.
Exactly. I can't wait to see what's next. It's exciting. It's an exciting time to be in the business, to be a real estate agent, to be a lender. It's a super exciting time. I was reading somewhere where, a couple of years ago, there was 300 and some odd thousand originators. And then as soon as the interest rates really went up and solidified, it dropped down to about 100,000 loan originators. So it weeded a lot of folks out that weren't in it for the long haul. They were just in it for a quick buck, because the interest rates were low. We're in it for the long haul. This is what we do day in and day out. We don't work part-time jobs. We do full-time mortgages Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. We're always available to assist a home buyer in need.
And it's important that you have the team around you so you can, everybody's not on 24 hours a day, 365, but you've worked really hard to build that network of people around you that can help the clients whenever, you're off. But I think that's great. So what would you tell somebody that is watching right now that maybe they're scared of getting into videos and things like that? Would you have any tips or anything that you'd be like, hey, just go for it? Or what do you have to say?
So I would say, hire a professional, somebody who's got some experience. I've had folks say, hey, just video yourself, just wing it, you'll get better and better over time. No, I want to be pretty good going into it. I don't want to just reinvent the wheel. So I hired a professional who's done it for other successful loan originators and teams. And so I went ahead and just made that financial commitment to go ahead and just go for it. And I recommend that you do it because, you get a couple of deals out of it. It pays for itself.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so don't wait. Don't put it off. Get out there and do it.
Do you regret regret waiting 2 years?
Of course I do. Yes, I do.
The millions you just lost?
Yes, exactly. I could have like 60,000 followers right now.
Yeah, right.
Instead of, but yeah, it's just maximum exposure, just getting out there and letting people know you're visible, you're available. And, and like you said about the team a minute ago, I mean, we always have somebody that is available on Saturday and Sunday. A lot of times it's me. Joseph's available. We're all available to help folks. So sometimes I'll get a call from a real estate agent on a Saturday or a Sunday, and they're out looking with a client, and that client's been, say, pre-approved with the Chase or the Wells or the Rocket or whatever. Can't get a hold of that lender, of course, but they'll call me because they know I'm going to know the answer. And so I answer that question, and then a lot of times end up helping that particular client, with their financing.
Right.
So it's about availability and dependability and communication. Those are several pillars of our success. People know me as Mr. Dependable. They can count on me to get the job done, and Joseph. Absolutely. And our entire team.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to work harder for our clients. So.
Right.
Yeah, and I agree the same thing with the social media stuff. I mean, just dive into it. I mean, before Chris hired the social media guy, I did a couple videos myself, and I'd go up to the office and record, and it was a little awkward, but it was fun, like, editing it, and I felt like really, just
you did a good job.
Yeah.
Much better than I could have done.
Yeah, they were a little rough still. I mean, looking back, I'm like, geez, I need to delete these, but honestly, it's just fun to see the growth, and just the advancement of, how we've grown as a branch, because, I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but Chris has pretty much tripled his branch size within the past year. It's been absolutely crazy to watch, and it's really cool to see the culture he has set for us and helped us, just being there and supporting us and wanting to see us win. That's been a huge thing. And, he's provided us this social media outlet. It's available for all the team members, and some people have hopped in on that, and it's just really cool to see.
That is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're a part of a team that everybody can collaborate, and it's not just Chris is leading it and,
Mm-hmm.
You guys have nothing to say. I think that makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
In the culture that you create.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And that's one of those things where it's like, I'm not the kind of guy that says, hey, this is the way it's got to be done. I'm the kind of guy that says, hey, here's some structure, but let's build upon this. Let's do whatever we can to make the experience better and better and better, always improving.
Yeah.
Always improving the customer experience through the loan process, the swiftness and execution of getting them pre-approved, and delivering on that closing date, and getting them the best rates and the best loan programs that are available in today's market. I mean, we are the number one retail lender in the United States. And that's pretty important because we actually have we have access to more products than any other lender out there. It's a fact. And so there's nothing that we cannot do aside from maybe, a 50-acre raw land or whatever, 100 acres. That's not really our cup of tea, but we'll go up to 25 acres raw land.
And you've probably built your network high enough that if someone does come to you, like maybe a past client or a referral, you can
we know who to send them to.
Yeah, exactly.
We know exactly who to send them to. In fact,
that they're going to be taken care of, right?
Yeah,
that happened this morning. As a matter of fact, I referred one over to Blake.
Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm.
That's it. So
before we dive into all the stuff about lending and all of that, I just want to ask you guys. So you got into this not too long ago. Mm-hmm. So maybe for someone that's watching that's new into any industry, yeah. I remember when you were green, but you had the bravery to go out and meet new people. Yeah. So you weren't in your 100% comfort zone. Mm-hmm. What was it? Just doing it over and over, or just leadership around you? What kind of got you to I'm meant for this. This is what I love doing.
I mean, honestly, I got into it, and Chris, it's mainly Chris. He's been super supportive and just putting me in all the right things. When I started, he put me in this training program. I did it for about 3 weeks and then didn't do it again. So sorry, Chris. But
he learned so fast.
Yeah, I learned a lot from it because in the second class, she was just harping us about not making calls, and then she was like, "Well, just ask someone who they know." And so the first thing I did is I went to my pastor and I asked him, "Who in this church is a realtor?" and give me their number and call them. And then I use this script hey, so-and-so. Well, he sent me your number. He said I should reach out to you. I'm new in the industry. I really like a lot of people say don't like lean on that, but I did it. I was like, I'm new in the industry. I would love to learn from you. I would love to get to know you. Like, let's sit down. And, you know, sometimes people would brush me off, but the people that would say yes, you know, that would be really exciting, and it would just drive me and motivate me further.
And they're probably still talking to you because that was pretty brave.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And somebody new. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this was the first office I started working in. You know, I tried to call, the first couple realtors I called was Mandy Wood, Tristan Eckerman, Michaela Eckerman, Yvette Kirkland. I called them and they actually said yes. And so I sat down with them, and it just gave me such a huge confidence boost. And, you know, obviously I've built relationships with them over the past couple years.
Yeah,
and,
our entire
you know,
brokerage, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's just super exciting. Honestly, like, just my advice is to just get on the phone and do it, you know, because, I mean, there's no reason in just sitting around and doing nothing. You know, you gotta, if you want to succeed, you have to apply yourself. And honestly, now I still struggle with calling new people, but you know, you just got to do it. Just stop thinking about it and do it. You know, that's the best thing you can do. And the worst thing they could say is no and be kind of mean, but that's okay. You know, it's just a part of the industry. People are busy and just don't take it to heart, you know.
So a lot of your calls, are you calling realtors primarily, or are you calling, like, cold calling for clients?
Yeah, so I mean, I used to cold call clients, and it would be Chris's past clients. So there was a relationship established, and it was pretty easy. But sometimes people would kind of be frustrating to call, you know. And so I was like, this sucks. I'm like, let me just start calling realtors, and that's really what helped my business a lot, you know. And you know, realtors were the main thing I started calling after a while. And yeah, I mean, that's.
And do you think, so the cold calling, that was probably a recommendation to you as like a 2002 modality?
Yes. Yeah. So let me tell you. So, I mean, the truth is that, I mean, he's young, he's hungry, and he doesn't know to be scared of the phone. Like, a lot of us older people are like, oh my God, this phone's like 5 pounds heavy, you know, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like, I just said, hey, start calling these past clients. Just like do reach outs, heavy. Touch base with them, see how they're doing, check in on them. See if there's any questions. You know, there's a lot of things going on in the mortgage industry. See if they have some questions, and then set calendar appointments for me. And it was just picking up the phone, repetition, you know, just calling, dialing. And that got him real comfortable talking to people. So when I was like, hey, why don't you call some realtors, you know, some realtors that, you know, that you've got a connection with through church, or, you know, a friend of a friend, or your friends on Facebook, or whatever the case may be. It came pretty easy to him. Mm-hmm. Where I think, you know, somebody who is maybe a little bit older, it may have been a little bit more of a roadblock for him, and it may have been more difficult, but he eased right into it.
Right.
Yeah. I think relational building is, like, relational business development is a lot easier than just straight up cold calling. Like, it would have been a lot harder to meet half the people I did if I was like, oh, I know so-and-so, you know, and that was the reason a lot of people were willing to sit down with me.
Right.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I mean, we don't do any cold calling. We're not a company that buys trigger leads. Like, there are so many companies out there, and the credit bureaus sell people's information to companies that are unscrupulous and willing to buy them, you know, like the Rocket Mortgages of the world. And so these companies will buy this data, and they'll reach out to clients, you know, that they have no interaction with. It's truly a cold call, trying to drum up some business. All as a result of, say, us, you know, taking a loan and pulling a credit report. They were referred to us nice and warm, and now they're getting a cold call. So we don't take that approach. We don't call anybody cold. Everybody is a warm referral to us from a friend, a family member, a coworker, a real estate agent.
Social media.
Yeah, social media. Yeah, we don't dabble in the new do not call list. That's not.
Yeah, that's definitely something when I started in business that was like, beat the phones. And I think talking on the phone is obviously important, but that kind of stuff just is kind of by the wayside anymore.
Yeah.
But it's not bad to practice on as a new in sales kind of person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
It's definitely important to know how to, you know, make a deal out of nothing. You know, that's what I learned out of calling, like, a lot of Chris's past clients, because some of them were like dead ends, and then, you know, you just gotta ask them, like, why didn't it work out? Well, you gotta improve on this, and just finding answers to their problems. You know, that's what a lot of people want. You know, even if it's a warm lead, they, like, a lot of clients that they don't come, like, you know, ready to go. Like, there's some stuff that they need to work on, so we provide those solutions, and a lot of times they really appreciate that and want to work with us as a result.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about, I mean, it's really about problem solving. And I'm not saying that everybody that comes to us has a problem, but there is an inherent need. They need a home. They need this. They need that. Maybe they're overcoming, maybe they're getting through a divorce and their credits, taking a little bit of a beating, or, maybe they haven't saved up enough for a down payment that they feel in their mind, "Hey, I've got to have X number of dollars for a down payment in order to buy a home." Well, they don't know what they don't know. And so we kind of just find out what their goals are, and then we work backwards on how to solve them to get them into their home.
Right. And so one of the topics that I've had a couple guests on, and even I was interviewed by the team, to get perspectives on the new rule change, for us, when this airs, it'll be different, but it's going to take into effect tomorrow for realtors.
That's right.
So do you have any input or insight that you feel like sharing into how you think it'll impact the industry?
Well, I'll say this. If for all those listing agents out there, when you're meeting with your seller, encourage them to pay a buyer's agent commission, because if they don't, their home's just going to get overlooked. They're not going to get the activity that they'd like to get. If you're a buyer's agent and, you're given a list of 10 probable homes for a client to look into and find out details on, if there's not going to be a reciprocal, if there's not reciprocity, and if the commission's not going to be paid out, and the buyer's agent's going to have to go to their buyer, and say, "Hey, I'm going to need you to compensate me since the seller's not willing to." I just think that listing agents will be doing their sellers a disservice, is the point I'm trying to make. So, I have had a couple listing agents tell me that they have met with clients recently that refused to pay a buyer's agent commission, and they just simply flat out said, "I won't work with you. I'm sorry, you'll have to find somebody else." And I agree with that. I think that something should be paid out at the very minimum. I had one today where listing agent was going to, seller was going to pay the buyer's agent 2% commission. And so, we were getting some seller concessions in there, and we're using the seller concessions to help offset the other 1%. So there's creative ways to go about it. I don't fundamentally think that there's going to be a whole lot of change. I think it's going to be pretty much business as usual. And I think a lot of people, are feeling like their world's turned upside down. At the end of the day, guys, let's remember, people want to buy homes and people want to sell homes. And, there's never been anything in place that said a commission had to be this or had to be that. It's always been negotiable, and it still is, and it will continue to be. And
right.
People are going to buy and people are going to sell.
So that being said, when we were talking earlier, you were saying that when something shifted in your industry, there was a major drop off of the contenders that were in your business, and then you just stayed strong, and you have been in the business for so long. Do you anticipate that this rule change for realtors is going to have an impact like that, as far as the people that are still in the business 2-3 years from now?
I think that, most definitely. Absolutely. So the biggest thing that listing agents can do is sharpen their skills, hone their skills, develop their presentation skills. And same thing with buyer's agents too, because as opposed to, in the past where, say, a buyer would come along or call a realtor or whatever and just say, "Hey, can you show me this home?" And, the buyer just, jumps in the car and goes sees that home with that buyer. Now buyers are going to be interviewing buyer's agents, and they're going to be they're going to make a decision on who they want to work with. So the biggest thing that folks can do on both the listing and on both the buy and the sell side is just sharpen your skills, sharpen your pencil, and, get good presentation skills and scripts, and, and run with that to sell yourself, because,
right.
And then show up like it's game day, like it's Sunday afternoon and you're running through the locker room, out to get on the field, just show up, be the best version of yourself, be prepared.
And so what about realtors that are new into the business? Like, lean into if you don't mind leaning into some of the things that you learned as a new into lending.
Yeah.
What would that look like? Would you have any suggestions for people that maybe got into real estate recently?
Yeah.
And then, now that's happened.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, so when I got in, it was like 2 years ago. So rates were pretty much at their worst. Like what were they at, Chris? High sevens. High sevens. So it was an awful time to get in. But, I knew none the better, so I just went in. So if you're getting into it and you're scared, like, oh, there's a lot of change, like, just do it, because you're not any wiser, and there's no harm in trying. You just got to keep going. You can't give up on yourself, and you can't give up on what you want to do. Like, that's really what it was. There was a couple times I never told Chris this, but I wanted to quit. I was just like, this is
you
awful.
and every other business owner has
Yeah.
those times. Don't feel bad.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was just like, man, this is going awfully. I mean, I cannot even like compete, and I was just like, I really don't know if this is where I need to be. And then I just felt a strong calling to stay in it. And literally that same year, I mean, I produced like probably 3 million, within that amount from like August to the end of the year last year. And I was like,
Just
okay,
hit a
this is where I
stride.
need to be, and so.
So you are really glad that you didn't.
Yeah,
quit,
I'm
right?
really glad I didn't quit, because it's just like the gold's at the other side of the thing. I don't know the saying, but
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking for both of you. I'm sure you've had those moments. I've had those moments
Sure.
of
Yeah.
just a total breakdown in your business because nothing's going right, timing isn't right, the money isn't coming in, or whatever it is. It's like everything's saying no, but your heart's telling you yes, I have to stay.
Absolutely. And that's what the same thing for me was. I mean, I just knew I had to stay, and literally just killed it, and this year I'm still killing it, doing way better than I was last year. And so just going to continue to go after it, because it's like a snowball effect. Like, you start building that book of business and it only grows, So
Once you get
just-
through those first few, it's just
Yeah.
like I'm a natural.
Yeah, you
keep
just start to
going.
pick it up and you keep going, and you learn so much through each transaction. I had this one transaction that I thought was going to kill me, honestly, but I learned so much through it, and the buyers were so appreciative, for me sticking it through and helping them out, And those, as frustrating as they are, those are the most satisfying deals. Those are
true.
the most fun.
You put the most heart on the line for.
Exactly, and
That's
then
it.
after you're done with them, you're like, "What's my purpose?" You're like, now that it's
I want to do
done.
that 2 times a month.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so rewarding. It really is. For me, it's like, I think it was like 2006 to 2008. That was the roughest time, because, the interest rates had gone up, and they were up there in the 7s. And I mean, they were pretty similar to what we have been seeing here recently. But the difference is, I didn't really know anybody back then, and now I do, and it's become a lot easier. So I was really working a lot harder, like
Yeah.
Joseph has, and it pays dividends, because it does truly, when you get something going and you really get on fire, start snowballing. And, if your heart's in the right place and you really truly want to help people, then you're going to be successful in this business.
Right. I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree with both of you on all of the things that you said, because there can be times that knock you down so deeply. But, at the end of the day, when you have that person smile at you or just be thankful for the time you invested into their biggest asset, there's nothing greater than that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I want to ask you guys, like, when you have had those really dark times, what are some things that you've learned over time that, like, I know this feeling and I have to do this to get me back on track? What are some things that you lean into for self-care?
So for me, it's like I never end the day on a negative. I always end the day on a positive. So it's like, let's say that let's say a buyer's offer doesn't get accepted. It's multiple offer situation, and I hear the bad news, and the buyer's bummed. I'm bummed too, because we've been talking about this property. I know how much they love it, and I've run numbers. We spent a lot of time talking about it, and when I hear the news, I'm bummed out too. Or it could be a situation where maybe I lost a buyer to a builder that's offering something crazy because they baked in freaking $50,000 in incentives into the purchase price of the home, and the buyer's chosen to well overpay for the home in the market. And anyway, I can't compete with the rate that they
I think
got.
you have some beef with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, does
Yeah.
it sound like it? Anyways, yeah, that happens every now and again. Hey, 3.99, but hey, it's 1,600 square foot for 425,000 now. But I mean, it's like just something that may happen that would be a Debbie Downer or whatever. I'm like, I'm not going to end this day on that note.
Yeah.
And so I'll call up like one of my best clients, and have a conversation with him and be like, hey, what's going on, man? Or I'll call up one of my, good realtors that I know that, hey, we're just going to have a cool conversation real quick. And, I don't care if I get off the phone and he sends me another buyer or not. It's just like we're building that rapport, just You know what I mean? I always
Yeah.
end the day on a positive.
I think it's
always.
important to start your day with a positive, like calling that past client or even a friend, just to start those conversations easy. And then I love that finishing strong.
I mean, my philosophy is hammer all day. I want to be the hammer all day. Sometimes turn into the nail, but you got to end the day as a hammer.
Yeah.
Got to.
Yeah.
So
I
about
agree
you?
100%. So, I mean, for me, it's just a little different. You know, and I know in that rough patch last year, what I really leaned to was my relationship with God. That's really what got me through all of that, because at the time, like, I literally had no business. Like, I don't think I closed one deal last summer. I mean, probably one, but that was it. And so it was really discouraging, and it was my first summer out here in Brenham, Texas. For us, it's a little different market. You know, I know in Houston they stay busy, but it's just a little different out here. And so this year I went into this summer knowing that it's going to be a little slower, but you know, I can control what I do. And so I would make outbound calls, like just try to drum up some business, and you know, definitely did way better than last year. But it's really all about, you know, taking care of yourself as well. You know, I always end the day with hitting the gym and, you know, spending time with my loved ones. You know, that's really what helps me get through the hard times, you know, is leaning on those relationships and taking care of myself, you know. And I think I need to take some word of advice from Chris and start calling some past clients at the end of the day. I think that's a good idea.
That is a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, he's like tripled his business since, you know, versus last summer. So, I mean, he's doing some things right, I'd say.
Yeah. And when you get on that roll, you know, just remembering that you have to stay on that, because at the end of the day, what you're doing today impacts what your paycheck in 30 days, you know? So
that's right.
Exactly.
So you have a really good day today, but you also need to keep your schedule and what that looks like in order to keep that snowball going.
Yeah, you can't take your foot off the gas. That's mandatory right there. I mean, it's easy to get a couple loans in and say, oh, hey, you know, these will pay, and you know, I'll forward the mortgage next month, and you know, this, that, and the other. But then you take your foot off the gas, and you know, and then you waiting, you know, a month for the next paycheck, you know, 2 months or whatever, you know, because that's just how it works in this business. We get paid when the deal closes. You know, we're 100% commission, you know, as you are. So, you know very much how it is. And so, you know, it's like I would always, back in the day, you know, tend to kind of take my foot off the gas in December, but you know, it's which would lead to a pretty poor January and February.
First quarter.
So I vowed not to do that again. And for the last, you know, half a dozen years or so, I've put my foot to the pedal and kept it going until about December 23rd or so. And then you'll find me in the office after Christmas. And those are traditionally some of the best times for me, because
Other people aren't working.
other people aren't working, and I get a lot of phone calls. I drum up a lot of business, and I've had a pretty good pipe going into January the last few years.
Right. Agreed. Yeah. And so also structuring your day. So I know that both of our teams are very structured like that. And so to keep you, you know, when you have that one client, like when you are new to the business or doing it for a while, when you have the one client and then you spin your wheels on dealing with just that one client for 30 days, 45 days, and then like, you get paid, but then it's, oh, what about the next couple months?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Like I had a really good May and April, but I was so busy that I literally couldn't handle dealing with those deals and then continuing to do business development. So as a result, my June pipeline really took a hit, but you know, my May was really good. So I was happy about that. But you know, it's just like, it's so easy to get caught up in your current clients, but it's also important to keep in mind, you know, I got to prepare
Future
for next
endeavors,
month.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So it sounds to me like you track numbers pretty well. And so you're you know your busy times of the year. And I think they're going to be they're going to mirror both of our businesses.
Yeah.
Like you said, you know, April, May, June are pretty hammered because it's the spring season. Everybody's excited. Maybe they're relocating, want to be in a different school district. But then the end of the year, everybody's just kind of checking out. So are you amping your numbers as far as, so I say all that, for example, it takes about 40 contacts for realtors in order to get one sale, unless you're just really, really good and you're just closing, you know, and have a lot of experience, you know, versus somebody else. But you can kind of track that as far as like, I know my spring months are going to be pretty heavy. I'm going to be busy, but am I ramping that up at the end of the year? Is that kind of the system you're thinking?
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I set goals for myself. Obviously, we all do. And, you know, my goal is to get, you know, 100 leads per month. and probably about 60% of those are going to turn into applications, and then I'm probably going to close a half to a third of those. So I mean, I'm consistently closing between 12 and 15 loans a month personally right now. At the height, back when the rates were really, really low and we were seeing some refi activity sprinkled in there, I was doing 35, 40 loans a month. I mean, we have all the seats on the bus filled. We have a really great ops staff, and I lean on them to help out in areas that they specialize in. So basically, my day consists of talking with clients, getting on Zoom team calls, going over financing options, discussing next steps, running numbers on homes, and just advising folks. And then, I've got my assistant who works on structuring, putting loans together, sending. Once I've had that conversation with the client and set it up and like lock the loan in, and she's submitted it over to processing, and then I've got my processor who takes the ball and runs with it, and and handles shagging page 2 of the Bank of America statement that maybe wasn't included in the doc upload or whatever. Like, I don't want to mess with any of that stuff, and my clients are perfectly fine working with my assistant to make sure that everything's buttoned up. I'm the doctor, I'm not the nurse. Nothing against nurses, love nurses, but I'm performing open heart surgery on some of these loans, and I mean, I'm getting in there, I'm doing my work, I'm washing my hands, and then I'm moving on to the next surgery.
I absolutely love that analogy. I love that. That was good. I'm gonna start using that.
Thank you. I also like to let clients know that, hey, I'm also like a pilot too, and it's, we get everything we need up front. It's going to be a very smooth ride. But if you're sending me this and sending me that, and you're not providing me what I need up front to assure that I've got you pre-approved and everything's buttoned up, soup to nuts, and then I've got an exit strategy, we're going to have a little turbulence, So let's just do it right. And I won't forget to put the landing gear down. I'll get you safely into your destination. We'll all be sipping margaritas in Cabo with our toes in the sand here soon. So Come on, let's roll.
Client cooperation is extremely important. That can make or break a deal, or, because there's sometimes where we have a deal set to close, and then all of a sudden, like a week before closing, they take a vacation out to Germany or something. And
or they take a new job, or they buy a car.
Exactly. Like just crazy stuff like that. It can really throw a deal off. And that's what I really liked about the social media stuff, is because we have made posts, addressing that stuff. Like, hey, when you're getting a loan, do not buy a car, do not co-sign for anyone, do not take random trips, do not spend a large amount of money. Like, please be very careful in this process, because you can throw everything off in just an insignificant move, to you.
Yeah, and it's so much more time effective whenever you have those clients, and so you're sending it out to the masses, to the people that may be interested and might give you a call, but also you could take those videos and send it directly to the client wherever they're at the game.
Absolutely.
That's right. Hey,
I like that idea.
Bob needs this. Bob's had some credit inquiries recently. We're getting the factual data alerts that he's opening new credit. Hey, I'm going to send Bob this video. Bob, you need to watch this, because and by the way,
I made this and I thought of you.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, we're trying to think of everything, and we're going to be rolling out some really great content here in the very near future. So just trying to deliver value that we think people can benefit from. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. We're just having a lot of fun. I mean, I love getting out there, meeting with clients, with real estate agents, and just talking about what we do and how to get better at what we do and how to serve, because ultimately, I mean, that's what we're doing, is we're making dreams come true on the daily, and it's so cool. It's so fun, to be doing what we do. And with these interest rates coming down drastically, and we're seeing a lot more buyers get into the market, things are really popping and picking up. And we're even helping some folks that we closed loans for just this year alone drop their interest rate and save a bunch of money on a refi. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so some people are on the fence, and they were, 2020 was like a wonky year, and in a positive and negative sense, however you want to look at it. But after the interest rates climbed up so much, people just sat on the fence. But then, so I want to kind of dive into your perspective. let's just say, we're kind of seeing that the market stats as far as inventory pricing is going to stay about the same. That we're not projecting like a major drop, minor, to compete with the market. But what are your thoughts on buying now with the rates, and then if there's a drop with similar prices or higher prices?
I mean, personally, what I've seen over the years is as rates go up, you have less buyers flooding the market to purchase a home. Obviously, sellers are wanting to hold on to their 2-3% interest rate. They're not willing to list their home and swap their low rate for a twice as high rate. With the interest rates having come down, we're seeing a lot more sellers willing to put their home on the market and sell and get that home that they put off. I talked to a guy the other day. He's like, man, I've been holding out. I've been waiting. And we had a Zoom call, and he was sitting in his daughter's room that he was using at his office. And the Barbie Dream, castle was, there sitting on the side of his desk. I was like, Doug, you really do need a new house, don't you? He's like, yeah, we've had 2 more kids since, So, and I truly do think that as the rates come down, we're going to see home prices not go down. And I think they're going to lift. I think they're going to go up. I don't think they're going to go up drastically like we were seeing 2-3 years ago, but I think there is going to be an increase in home prices. And so the opportunity, guys, is right now, because what you're seeing right now is you're seeing the interest rates come down and the home prices are like right here. And as the rates continue to come down, the home prices are going to go like this. And then the buyer's going to come like this, and then you're going to have multiple offers, and it's going to drive the price up and up and up and up. So
yeah, so it's not only an election year, and so the last 9 prices, like there's an interest rate fluctuation, and then prices tend to go up each the past 9, I believe.
Yeah.
But that being said, then you're fighting that, and then also throwing in the NAR settlement, where some sellers are like, yeah, I'll just raise my price and pay your people.
Right.
So it's going to be a lot of fluctuations, I think, in the numbers we're about to see.
Exactly. And so the key is to get in early on the ground floor, I might say. So while the interest rates have come down quite a bit, and we're talking over a point in the last 2 weeks alone, we're seeing the lowest rates we've seen in just about 2 years. So it's a great opportunity to get out there and get your feet wet, get back in the market, look at homes, because as the media gets the word out and more consumers, watch the news, listen to the radio, see the advertisements online. Oh my God, rates have dropped. When did rates drop? Oh my God, the last time I looked at it, it was like 8%. Now it's 5%. What? What's going on?
Let's go buy 2 houses.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they're going to get out there. Somebody saw it on Sunday, and now they're like, hey, I think I can get out there after work on Tuesday. Well, it's too late on Tuesday, because that person that saw it on Sunday is
so
writing an
true.
offer on Monday, So it's going to be speed. And so the biggest advice that I can give to any buyer, because I'm literally seeing multiple offers right now. I mean, I haven't seen multiple offers on homes in what feels like years. And so it's like for the last 5 or 6 homes that my clients have won, they've won out over multiple offers. And that's a quick aside. I'm calling a listing agent. I'm putting in a great word for the client. We're structuring based on terms, not necessarily on price. So maybe we're building some seller concessions, but coming in at a full price offer rather than trying to drop the price 20 grand. We're doing things that are going to help their offer succeed. And, but I mean, it's just, more and more buyers are hitting the market, and I think it's not going to be long before we're going to see 7, 8, 10, 12 offers on those properties that are highly desirable.
I think there's a lot of buyers that have been just, kind of behind the floodgates, and, and the lack of inventory and the interest rates have hindered them. But now that those are going down, inventory is slightly going up, which is kind of bizarre at this time of the year. Usually it kind of starts slowing down, but I've noticed
the rates.
It 100% is. So what are your insider opinions if you're talking to a first-time home buyer or talking to someone that's been on the fence and they've maybe had a bad experience and they don't know what to do? What would you tell them, maybe the first few A, B, and C, 1, 2, 3 things that they should do right away to get ready?
You want to take this one?
Well, you can put in some points too, but the main thing is that I see a lot of buyers try to do is they try to time the market, and that's probably the worst thing you can do, because houses aren't going to sit. we don't know what rates are going to do. As much as I would love to say we know exactly what the rates are going to do, we don't have a magic crystal ball. We cannot
Right.
see into the future and what they're going to do. So don't try to time the market. Don't try to wait till the rates go down. I mean, this is a, extremely good opportunity to get in. So just get into it, try to find something, and then put it in offer, if things go well, then you have a house. I mean, I wouldn't try to time the market at all. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, so anybody who's trying to time the market, I'd love to have a conversation with you because, I mean, I can show you how, if you're sitting at like 6% in today's market and that home is 300,000 and you're trying to time the market, to get that 5.5 rate or hoping that the seller's going to drop their price 10 or 15,000, I think what's going to happen is those interest rates are going to come down over time and home prices are going to go up over time. So instead of paying 300 for that home, maybe 6 months later, while you've been sitting on the fence waiting for rates to drop a half a point, that home price has gone up from 315 to 320. Now, if you look at the difference in payment on a loan, say with 3% down, $320,000 purchase price, your payment is going to be a lot higher than it would be if you were to get that 0.5% lower interest rate.
Yeah.
And you're going to wish you had a DeLorean and gone it to 88, 1.21 gigawatts, go back and snag that house. And I mean, I'd rather pay a higher interest rate. I mean, I bought 2 homes in the last 6 months personally, a primary and an investment property, and my rate's over 7% on both. I hadn't batted an eye. I don't care. I really don't care because, I bought right at the right price and I felt really good about it. And I'll just refinance later. And it's like you've heard all of us lenders say, date, marry the home, date the rate. And it's a cliche, but it's so true. It's so true,
Very true.
It's just like you can change your rate. You can change your mindset. You can change your attitude. You can do this, you can do that, but you can't change what you paid for the home,
After so much time, you can refinance. So if there's somebody that's a new first-time home buyer, they're like, oh, I can refinance, what, in a month? I've had that question before. So what's
3 months.
Thank you.
Yeah.
3 months. 3 months. In fact, closed the loan back in May. May we were seeing, the higher rates we've seen this year, 7.5%. So we're actually dropping his rate down. I think it's like 6.25 with no points. And so he's dropping his rate like 1.25 on a $630,000 loan.
That makes a big difference.
So he's saving several $100 a month, and we're waiving the lender fees, which we do for all our repeat clients. So no processing, no underwriting. We retain and we service the majority of our loans, so it's just streamlined. Transfer the escrows from the current loan over to the new loan. Get an updated pay stub or two and a bank statement, updated ID, the new address, and just push it through. Get it done.
So if someone's wanting to be a first-time home buyer or they've been on that fence, do you have any recommendations of the things that they need to start thinking about, compiling, and getting ready as they step into a pretty competitive market?
Sure.
Kind of rant about this,
Okay.
I think if you have co-signed for some people, work on getting those titles out of your name. Seriously, do that right now. Stop what you're doing. Stop listening to this and go do that, because that could really affect your debt to income ratios, and it makes the process a lot harder because then we have to wait for you to get that vehicle or whatever loan you have refinanced out of your name. And, save up money, of course. Continue to save money, keep spending down, and just keep debt as minimal as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to kind of piggyback off that. So I love talking with first-time buyers that are sort of on the fence as to whether or not they should renew that upcoming lease that's coming due in November or whatever. So I like to find out in a conversation, just, hey, how much are you paying in rent right now? $2,500. Okay. Well, what price range do you think you want to be in based on homes you've seen on the market? Well, about $250 or so, and I find out, hey, what's your desired monthly payment? Well, I'd like to pay less than I'm paying in rent. Wrong answer. I'll pay about what I'm paying in rent. That's fine. No problem is the right answer. It always is funny to me when people are like, yeah, I'm paying $2,500 in rent, but I'd like to have my mortgage payment at about $1,000. I'm like, yeah, I mean, yeah, we could do that. But anyway, just realistic expectations, your monthly payment's going to be somewhere between $70 and $100 per 10,000 financed. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to work up a rent versus own scenario for them that I can visually share with them, because what I like to do is I like to hop on a Teams or a Zoom call or meet clients face to face. I'm kind of old school like that. Having a phone conversation, it's fine. But if I can connect with somebody, agreed, hey, we're gonna speak at such and such time, I'm gonna send them over a link, and maybe they connect with where I can see their face, maybe they don't. That's fine either way. But if I can connect with them face to face, then I can better understand them and where they're at, and their mannerisms and things like that, which helps for me to better read them, to better assist them. And I like to just show folks, hey, if you continue to rent, this is how much you're going to be throwing away. Basically, you're helping to pay your landlord's mortgage, but why don't we do something to benefit you, where you can get some tax write-offs, deductions, take advantage of mortgage pay down, take advantage of home appreciation. And so I lay out the rent versus own scenario. And then I always like to let folks know that while it's important to take care of your credit, to work on your credit, I recommend let's get your application in. Let's do a soft credit check. We're not going to start with a hard check. It's a soft credit check. We're just we're putting our little feet in the water here. We're testing the waters. We're seeing where we're at, so that I can determine your purchase affordability. I can take a look at your credit and see if there's anything that we need to work on. Your lease is up in 3 months. We've got a little bit of time. Let's take a look at the credit. Let's see if there's anything we need to do in the short term to get you prepared. And then let's talk about what you're comfortable with in terms of a down payment, monthly payment, and things of that nature. So I'll kind of lay the groundwork to figure out what they're comfortable with, what their desires are, and then I'll work with that data, with that information, to help guide them in the right direction. So, of course, we have loans that are 100% financing, and a lot of people love 100% financing, but it's always good to have a little bit of money in the bank, because we don't want to just, take somebody who's got $500 in their account, get them 100% financing, and then they don't have enough reserves or money, cash cushion, to make the first mortgage payment. It's not a desirable situation.
And not only that, when they're moving into their home, yes, you might have had an inspection report. Yes, everything was great on the walkthrough, but 2-3 months down the road, there's no guarantee that something might go out. And so you need just to have that cushion as far as just building that net worth.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That's just so important. It's critical. To save money is important. Do you need 20% down to buy a home? No, of course not. There's low down payment options. We are the home of the grant money. So we've got our community promise program, $6,500 for first time buyers. We've got several other grant programs as well, depending on income limits and things of that nature that we have to look at on a case by case basis. But we're here to help our buyers get a leg up and to get into a home. And so if you're a buyer right now and you're living paycheck to paycheck and you just think there's no way to save money for a down payment, I want to talk to you, because the truth of the matter is we love working with folks that are in that position, and because we can help you to get into a home of your own for very little to no money out of pocket. In fact, a lot of our buyers actually walk away with keys in one hand and check in another from the closing table. And we do that in a certain way by giving you grant money or down payment assistance money. And then Tesia is going to help you get some seller concessions to help offset some closing costs, which is going to lead to you getting back your deposit at closing. And so, again, it's nice to see a couple of months reserves. Anybody who's got a 401k who's been contributing to it for the last year or two, they've got the reserves we need most generally. So it doesn't have to be liquid. It could be investments.
And just everything that you're saying, might be overwhelming to some people, but then if you've been thinking about it, then you've answered all the questions. So, to get them off that fence that we've been talking about. Oh
yeah, absolutely. And it costs nothing to give us a call and have a conversation, and we encourage that. So, why not get some advice, get a little educated, ask your questions, and get get some feedback on how you can take those next steps forward to get you into your first home.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we wrap things up today, guys, do you have anything else that you want to share with any of your consumers or clients, or just something that's going on in the market that you're you need to know?
I mean, I could direct this towards young entrepreneurs, young people in the business, whether it's lending or real estate. Just don't give up, because the light's at the end of the tunnel. I've seen it in my own life and business. It's really easy to want to quit, but just don't. Just keep riding it out, and you won't regret it.
I love that so much.
Absolutely. I don't know that I can top that. So I'm not going to try. But I was going to say, I love working with folks who understand the value of real estate. I mean, it's truly an investment at the end of the day. Sure, you're going to live there with your family, maybe have some kids, raise some kids and everything. But at the end of the day, it's an investment, right? And it's one of the safest, best investments that exist, period. I mean, you can bank on real estate to pretty much only go in one direction, and that's up. And so I love working with folks who also have the mindset of, hey, I want to invest in real estate. And I love it when I have a conversation with somebody who doesn't own any real estate and wants to invest in real estate. And then I'll go into talking about, hey, you and your fiance, you guys should each buy a home. And then, when you get married, you rent out one, move in together, live there a year, and then rent it out, and then go and buy your next property. We'll do minimal down on the first home, and then we'll do minimal down on the second home. So like say 3% down on the first home purchase for each of you before you're married. You get married, you rent out one, that pays for the mortgage. Now you've got, instead of $200,000 in real estate, now you own $400,000 or $500,000 in real estate, and then it's just kind of a rinse and repeat situation. And you can literally have a portfolio of real estate, 4 or 5 properties within 7-8 years, easy.
Yeah.
So just call us for some advice. Let's have some fun and talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. And it's so obvious that both of you love what you do. And so if anybody does want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
So you can find us at, you can find me at chris.planto at ccm.com. That's chris.planto at ccm.com. My cell is 832-731-6560. Or open up a Google browser and put my name in there, and you'll find me.
We had one of our videos not too long ago that had like 10,000 views, like one of our reels. So I would just crack up if you got 10,000 calls.
That'd be awesome.
I would love that, honestly. Yeah. Yeah,
That'd be
absolutely.
awesome.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. And
I'll return everyone. I'll return every single one of them.
Absolutely. Same here. Yeah, you can find me at joseph.medrano at ccm.com, joseph.medrano, and my number is 979-203-6873.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much for having us. This was fun.
It was
a lot
super
of fun. I love it.
Yeah. So we are so grateful for all the insight that they just gave over to us. And so if you like their content, like and make your comments, and we'll be sure to connect. And so you can also reach us at texastrioteam.com. We're on all social channels. Thank you for tuning in, and keep living your best life.